Upgrade your business tools with an American Express Business Platinum Card. Unlock over $1,000 per year in statement credits on select purchases in categories including tech, wireless, and recruiting. And so big expenses can deliver big benefits, you'll also earn 1.5 times membership rewards points on single eligible purchases of $5,000 or more. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
The friendship is sharing deal.
Because I want one of your McNuggets.
And I need some of your Quarter Pounder.
There's a deal for everyone at McDonald's. Get one favorite like 10-piece chicken McNuggets, a Quarter Pounder, or a Big Mac, and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are about to listen to the most entertaining and informative wrestling podcast out there. That is not a prediction, it is a spoiler, and this is Kayfabe Critics. Welcome to another edition of Kayfabe Critics presented by Missing the Point. I am Michael Marcangelo, joined alongside my guy, the head of this table, Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. Take a second to acknowledge him. It is that time of the year. Survivor Series is this Saturday. So on this episode, we're going to talk about kind of all the things leading up to it. We'll run through the card, and then at the end, we're going to go through our top 5 underrated matches in Survivor Series history. But before we get into it, Ray, how are we feeling about this year's build and this year's card?
Well, it's crazy how time flies. This time last year, you and I were sitting in Loge 10
right.
together. Couldn't believe that we got those good of receipts. And the time that we got them, we were worried we were going to be watching it from banners, which would have been cool. But we wanted to be in the actual building, and we were. So I'm sad that we're not there. Cause it'd have been cool to take a trip to Chicago, but you have more important things going on, and so do I. So it is what it is. So we'll figure out another time to get together with that. But I'm feeling good about it. I know we had talked about, how's the build towards this year. I know some were disappointed or annoyed, but once again, that's a majority of the WWE universe. That's just how they act at times. They're never satisfied. We have been getting the Monday Night Raw main events the last 3 months up to this. So you kind of saw it coming when Adam Pearce came out and said what he said about War Games. So once again, I'm not pissed about it. I do think they should have went a different direction with some things, but nevertheless, I'm excited about the match to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it's always dangerous or scary when you have another PLE so close to Survivor Series. They just had Crown Jewel. It feels like, just 2 weeks ago. And I thought that was a good show, right? So to put on another good show is going to be difficult to give it the time. But I thought that the pop that Adam Pearce got for announcing what he said, like, you want to play games, and then he said the War Games line, and that place went nuts.
Yeah,
you don't hear crowds, or maybe you don't see the talent delivering lines in a way that make people pop for a match anymore.
Right. Yeah,
and he did it, and he nailed it.
And he's old school. He doesn't know from NWA days, whatever. Like he's old school, so I think he knows how to, a lot of those old school guys are nuanced characters. And, they know how to deliver lines, and that's what he's been able to do. And that's what, Seth has been able to do. Cody's been able to do. The Usos either on their other sides, like they've all been around that old school type of training. So, those nuances matter, and they're delivering on every line. We'll talk about that shortly. With what unfolded last night, since we're recording this on a Tuesday, but man, that helps a lot.
Yeah. I like, to your point, right? Like Cody Rhodes at the conclusion of Monday Night Raw last night. For those that haven't watched it, spoiler alert. He let us know who his 5th member was. There was someone that he has a legacy with. It's someone that turns them not into prey but into predators. And I thought, without ever saying his name, they did a great job, and that crowd was there for it too. You get worried, I get worried, especially now with the internet, everything being what it is, that they were going to start chanting CM Punk, even though that they knew it was going to be Randy. But
right.
Randy deserves these flowers because he's been gone for a while. I think people forget how good he is. how good he
Yeah.
has been,
Yeah.
and I think how good he always will be. So
Right.
what did you think about the way that they announced Orton coming back, and are you disappointed that it's not CM Punk?
So before I get into that, so initially when because I know like Triple H sometimes or WWE in general be also bullshit. So at first when he said I have a legacy, I said it's better be fucking Ted DiBiase. It better not be. Like that's the first thing I thought of. I said don't fucking play with me on there. Don't do this to me. It better be a Randy Orton or it better be CM Punk, right? So obviously when he said legacy, and obviously when he went into Apex Predator and I hear voices, I was like, oh, okay, thank God. Yeah, I mean, listen, I love Randy as a performer. I feel like he needs this at this moment. Like obviously he's been out for about 18 months almost, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So so it was cool for them to put that nuance there where it's like, oh, it's the advantage match or whatever, because obviously he's probably gonna be the last one to come into the match, obviously. I'm sure he's been taking bumps at the PC Center, the last few months to get him ready, but it's different being in the live event than doing stuff in Orlando. But yeah, I thought it was great how they built it up. I think when Cody was like, yeah, like I know a guy, like I think it was pretty obvious at that moment, but it was still cool, like I said, to hear that crowd go crazy when he brought it up, all of his monikers before saying who was gonna be with them Saturday. So yeah. Once again, it'd be cool if CM Punk came back at the Royal Rumble now, since it's probably not going to happen on Saturday. Once again, we don't know. I hate they WWE can swerve us again. But it'd be cool to see CM Punk at the Royal Rumble if that's the case.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And one of the things that I think could get lost on people that haven't watched it as long as you and I have is when Cody was talking about Randy, the cameraman looked at Jay, and Jay looked like nervous because he was part of the reason why Randy was on the shelf, storyline purposes, right? It was the bloodline took out Riddle and Randy Orton, and
Right.
they touched on that. Like that's such a. I feel like obviously with everything that happened with the Endeavor takeover and TKO and
Right.
Vince, but Triple H, it's things like that that make you realize that Triple H is firmly in control, because
Right.
that's a very nuanced thing that really I think only diehards would pick up on.
Right.
I loved it. I thought it made it made it real. It's like it's a callback to why he was out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the same thing, obviously, with the promo you sent me earlier with Drew. There's a lot of real stuff going on. I don't know how long they make Randy a face, because it's not
might be till Raw the next day, right? That's what it has to be.
Yeah,
he's gonna turn on Cody.
Because I'm like, this is not. Yeah, but I'm like, there's not a story for them going into 40. Like you need, like this is about him going after Roman now. Like I don't know how you incorporate that after. I mean, well, they'll figure it out. I mean, he's been doing this for 20 plus years, so they'll figure out something. Or maybe it's a short feud going into a Royal Rumble. Who knows? Where he's like, yeah, we built this legacy, but I was the XYZ of this group, and blah blah blah. So, maybe it turns into like a Triple H for Clear one.
Yeah,
but you go. So,
to your point though about they still may swerve us with Punk. Shinsuke's been cutting ominous promos the last few weeks on Raw, referring to like, where are you? He's talking to a person. Nobody knows who he's talking to. No coincidence that this year he started using the GTS again. Yeah. I mean, people that crowd will go nuts if he calls him out and Punk comes out to challenge Shinsuke.
That would be phenomenal. I mean, what better opponent outside of Rollins right away for him to get? That would be phenomenal. That'd be great. I would love that. I would love that. That would be cool. That'd be really cool to see. So,
before we went through the card, it's pretty noticeable, right? It's hard to miss. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the card suffers not without the title being defended, but without the WWE Undisputed Champion not even being there? Like Roman Reigns is not there.
Yes, because I feel like this could have been a good time for him to go back and do champion versus champion with him against Seth here. That match that they won at the beginning of last year was everything. Like they really brought the house down and then
Was
the
that
story. Was
was
it
that
day
day
one?
one there? Or it
Oh,
was
Royal Rumble.
Backlash, I think a couple of years ago, right? Or wasn't it when Seth
No,
came
I
out as the Shield?
Yeah, I
Like,
thought it was the day one pay-per-view last year though. He came out and it was like, either the Royal Rumble. No, it was the Royal Rumble last year. Royal Rumble last year he
okay,
came out to it and it was like, and I was like, okay, like maybe you go back to this because they never settled. They never settled who was, over. So who got over in that rivalry. So I feel like you could still go back to that at any time. I always like to see the champion versus champion. We've seen it the last few Survivor Series, so I feel like that would have been cool to see. But yeah, I mean, the draw that he's become, yeah, it's always some type of miss when he's not there. Because he is the guy right now. Remember, he used to say that years ago, but he really is the guy now, and he has proven to be there at the table since his return in 2020. So yeah, there's some absence there. But there's still a stacked card in my opinion. But I'm just old school. I like seeing champion versus champion. But
yeah.
maybe we'll get that another time.
We'll go through the card. I don't know the order, so I'm going to start with the match that I hope starts off first.
Mm.
And it's the men's war game match, right? I think you have, for the reason why I would start it off with that is because you have to control that crowd from the get-go. You can't have them chanting for CM Punk all night because they're in Chicago. And I think a way to take that right off the table is by having Cody, Jay, Seth, Sammy, and Randy Orton and versus the Judgment Day just have a hell of a match. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And you talk about the Drew McIntyre promo that he cut. I mean, talk about storytelling made easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's none of these. Look, why did he turn? Why is he joining them? He told you he cannot forgive Jey Uso because he believes that his family cost Drew McIntyre's family their deserved spot and their
Right.
moment of recognition after 16
Right.
years.
Yep.
What a promo! What
No,
a
yeah.
promo
The best he's ever cut.
ever.
Like by far, like, and that's how I was saying to you earlier when we were meeting about this. I was like, yo, like that was everything Vince thought he was when he introduced him on SmackDown years ago as the future. He's a future world champion, Drew McIntyre, like that. That everything that he did in that promo, that pain, that anger, that just everything he channeled all that up from 3-man band, from the stuff he did in the Indies. Drew Galloway, like when he came back, he was like everything was made for that particular moment on Raw. And I was glad he was able to deliver it. He didn't stutter through it. He didn't mess up at all. Like everything, you felt every word because whether people like to say it or not, Drew McIntyre carried the WWE through that pandemic era. Whether you think so or not, that's once again that's not a prediction. That is a spoiler. That's a fact. Like when he beat Brock at 36, and then essentially was that champ really throughout the year, and he had great matches with Randy, he had great matches with Bobby Lashley. He did his thing, and maybe that was the best thing for him. I know that obviously the story is being told differently, but I think that year being silent helped a performer like him because he got a chance to hone in on those promos, hone in on how he wanted to tell a story through his matches. So I hope this leads to another title run for him because I enjoyed his title run back a few years ago. So yeah, they have built him correctly coming back from 2017 up to now. So I'm enjoying it.
So, what do you think about this match? Who do you think wins? Who do you want to win?
So I want Cody's team to win, but I think it's more important for the Judgment Day's side to win. I just think that if you're going to keep them as the main heel faction, Seth is made, Jay is made, Cody's made, everyone on that side is made, right? Randy obviously is made. Now if you want to go with the feel good story, him coming back, you get Randy Orton to win, cool. But I think just from I think if you're continuing to build them as the top faction, as the team that is going to have all the gold, personally, what I think should or could happen, Dominic does something to Seth, kind of gets him somewhat interest to his back. They pin him. Judgment Day's team wins. Damian Priest right there cashes in 1, 2, 3. Your new world champion, Damian Priest. I think that would be awesome. I think fans would be sick.
Awesome.
I think fans would be sick, but I think that would be I think that would be perfect. You talk about shock value, that would be phenomenal. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Be great.
Well, listen, I want everything that you just said to happen, right? Because that would be nobody would see that coming.
Right.
That's a great way to solidify. I don't know if they would do that if it opens the show, but if they did,
I
and it
mean,
opens
but
the
you
show,
know,
that-
you just said if you're trying to get them from not hijacking the show and yelling CM Punk like that you do something like that to get the crowd buzzing and going, like that would be perfect. And once again, when is he going to cash in? Once again, when did he win that? He won that Money in the Bank, but what was that? What was that in July? In July they had that or in June they had that PLE. So it's like at what point does he cash in? Are you gonna make him Barry Corbin super? I don't think you do that with him. I think that he's earned a right to at least win it. Whether even if it's a short reign, he's earned the moment to hold it and say, and you're new world heavyweight champion or universal champion, like whatever it may be. I think that would be perfect because Gunther is coming. And we'll get into that later on, but Gunther is coming. So
yeah, I love that. A match that I think this reminds me of the match that we saw last year when it was Ronda versus Shotzi. That should not have been on the card. I love Rhea Ripley. I will always love Rhea Ripley. But a PLE match against Zoe Stark for the women's world championship, that just doesn't move it for me like at all.
But this would be better than that match last year. This would be better. Zoe Stark, that match would be better than the match we saw in Boston last year. One, because Rhea's a better performer than Ronda Rousey, and I think that Zoe Stark is better than Shotzi, honestly. I think Zoe has learned a lot from that rivalry this year with Trish and Becky. And yeah, obviously, once again, we know who's going to win the match. So I guess from that standpoint, it's like it shouldn't be a squash, but I hope it's not a squash match. Make this like who was it earlier this year before he got released? Oh my God. Hopefully this could be like how Ali versus Gunther was earlier this year. You knew that Ali wasn't going to win, but for a moment, that special belief was there when Ali hit that 450. You were like, oh, is he going to win? Is he going to win his match but not a champion? So that's if it can get to that, I'm fine with that. It did his job. We're cool. It's probably going to be a second match of the night. I disagree with that because it's a world title match. I feel like in the words of Jericho, you don't put if you're on second, they don't care about that match. I don't think it should be second because it is for the world title. There's another match on this card that I think should go second, but they can do whatever they want to do, obviously. But I just don't think you don't put a world title match second, in my opinion. That's just
well. So the only order that I cared about was starting off with the men's games matches. The rest of this isn't in any particular order because they haven't released the card.
But they would do that though because it's like this is a match that don't really
So are you? I thought you were going to be down on this match going into it, but it seems
I don't love that it's happening, but I'm saying like I think it's going to be better on the. No, I'm just being honest. Like I do think this match will be better than. Well, no, we're both high on Rhea, so I like Rhea Ripley. So and anytime to see her perform, because mommy's always on top.
That's right.
So I love that. And once again, I thought Zoe Stark had a really good 2023. It's good for her to get the spot once again. There's only so many she can run through. I thank God it was someone like Nia Jax getting this opportunity.
Thank God.
You know what I'm saying? So I just like to me, I'm excited to see how that unfolds. And once again, will it be a 5-star? No. But like I said, I do think it's gonna be better than the women's title match we saw at this time last year in Boston.
Next match is just a singles match. I think it was the one that you just alluded to. It's Carlito versus Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar cut what I thought was his defining moment, his promo on SmackDown last week, after turning on Rey Mysterio and breaking up the leaving the LWO. I think Carlito's come back twice this year. Pops have been huge every time. He can still go in the ring. Obviously, he looks great. I think this match, it has one of those, in my opinion, it's one of those things that it's presented as meaningless, but it could steal it. It could steal the show.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think the slow build to make the heel turn for Santos was great. Once again, we saw it coming as soon as he was kayfabed out to be hurt and Ray comes in, he wins the title. That right there was the entry starter of like, oh, okay, now it's a slow build to you took my opportunity. You were supposed to be, like mi hombre, like you were supposed to be all that. And it's giving me Kill 2005 Eddie Guerrero run. And I hope it gets to that level. Because if it does, man, you got a next star ready to rock and roll that could be in that main event status this time next year. So I hope they build this right. Once again, Ray's a professional. So this is probably leading to him and Ray at WrestleMania, which we were talking about. So I'm hoping that's the case. But yeah, I think when anytime you get a chance to go against the OG, once again, obviously, we've seen Cena come back in the ring a few times this year. Carlito's from that era as well. I think that it's going to deliver. Maybe they put this second, like we talked about, who knows? Because it wasn't really a strong feud to get to it. It was just like a few weeks of Santos showing disrespect, and then he cuts that promo, which was it's like, hope you break your leg. I think it was right. It's like, damn. I was okay. I'm okay. Santos was like, it was just like, damn. I'm like, say with your chest, big dog. But yeah, I loved what he said, and I'm looking forward to that match for sure.
That serious presentation of a bona fide like Latin star, right, coming out in a suit, talking all serious like that, in 5 minutes on SmackDown, Santos Escobar did what Alberto Del Rio couldn't do in 5 years in WWE, and I think Alberto in his time here he was fine, but I thought he was better when he had the manager. This guy just set himself apart instantly, and if you can talk on the mic and you look like that, I mean, WWE may have just figured out their next big, Latin star, Mexican star. Like he might be.
And if you're gonna do that, give him Eddie Guerrero's theme from WCW when he was a heel. Halloween Havoc. Yeah. If we're gonna go all the way there, give him Eddie Guerrero's theme music from Halloween Havoc '97 when he faced Ray. Which many redeem as a top 10 match of all time. So yeah, that, and then maybe get Juven to come back on that. And listen, there's so many ways they could go with this. It'd be phenomenal. It'd be great. So I would give him his music for that match. And my not for this match, I'm saying, but once they build up to WrestleMania.
Love it. The next match we have to talk about is for the Intercontinental Championship. And let me just say that you have to be a great heel to make The Miz a good face because he's been hated for so long because he's so good at it. But Gunther is just fucking awesome. The promo he cut on The Miz this past week on Monday, like this was a very strong show. Monday's Go Home show was excellent, and the promo of him saying that you were part of an era of wrestling that I didn't like to watch. You were bullied in high school. All you wanted to do is be like your heroes. You got into that locker room and they bullied you because they didn't want you there. Like, holy shit. And that's also true.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. I mean, like, that's I just saying it just like, and one thing I'm sure the Miz went backstage and probably hugged him, was like, yo, that was fucking great. Like, cause it's just like, he probably even helped him write it, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, that was phenomenal. But yeah, but if there's anyone that I'd be happy with breaking his reign, is The Miz.
Yeah.
And once again, maybe it happens here because you're like, okay, he's already got the record. And now just maybe puts him in a world title picture with Seth Rollins or whoever is the guy. So I'm actually looking for Miz to end that reign.
Really?
For him, yeah. I mean, once again, Gunther, only because I want Gunther to be looked at in the world heavyweight picture order. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that it's time to get him into that ascension, so to speak. So yeah, I think that it would be great to see that. Or you have Miz lose there, and then you do like a best out of 3 with them, right? Because they're gonna have a December pay-per-view, and PLE, old school. December PLE, and then they're gonna have Royal Rumble. So maybe they have a best 3. Who knows?
Yeah,
but either way, get as much out this food as you can.
I want Miz to win for what you just said, because I think that now is the time, and I think there has established himself. He's put himself in the main event era. right? I mean, he's something because he can talk, and people instantly don't like him because he sounds like he's condescending. Um, and the guy can just go. His matches are hard hitting, they're believable, and if you lose now, or maybe even if to your point, they do a best out of 3, um, and then he has a strong showing in the Rumble, and Brock eliminates him, and then we get that Brock Gunther match at Mania.
Yep.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. And like I said, once again, we'd all be here for. Either way, so whether it just leads into him Miz or just leads to him Brock, like that would be sure. Even him and Bobby Lashley would be dope. I mean, granted, I don't know how they would enter that story, but either way, that would be really cool to see. Once again, Gunther put on probably the second best match of WrestleMania weekend last year. That triple threat with him, Drew, and Sheamus was incredible. Like that was, in the words of Big E, big man pumping me. Like it was great. It was great. It was great to see. So,
And then we'll wrap things up. The women's War Game match. So we have Bianca Belair, Charlotte, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch versus Damage Control. The recently renovated Damage Control with Bayley, Asuka, Io Sky, and the returning Kairi Sane. I think this should close the show because in my opinion, I think that this match. I mean, I don't love Shotzi. I don't hate Shotzi. I'm just kind of like lukewarm on her. I also think that this match has a real potential to steal the show.
Yeah.
And I love the combination of Asuka, Io, and Kairi on the same team. Like that's going to be something. So what are your expectations for this match? Are you excited for it?
Yep. I'm hoping that they go the route that a lot of us are thinking, that Bayley costs them the match and then they turn on Bayley Monday night. I'm hoping that's the case. So I'm probably in the minority here. I have not loved heel Bayley. I haven't.
Really?
Like I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. It's got stale on me. Let's say that it's got stale. I think initially it was cool. Like the role model thing was cool, but now I'm just like, it's like, all right. So I think they noticed that, so we're now they're like, okay, you know what? Let's make a change because this game's stale. And once again, I'm biased to face Bayley because she gave me the greatest women's match of all time as a face. I don't NXT, New Japan, whatever. I don't care. She gave the best match of all time outside of Trisha Lee on Monday Night Raw at NXT TakeOver 2015 against Sasha. Like, I'm sorry. So I want that girl back. I want that emotion that back. And I remember how the crowd went crazy when she knocked over Charlotte back in 2018 when she won the title then. So I don't know. I just think to me, the reaction she's gotten as a face has been way bigger than when she's gotten as a heel. So I just want to get back to that level because she is really good. She's really good. And, it's been cool to kind of get the elevation of these stars in Damage Control, which is why they put the factions together. I get it. She's done her job. She's done her job to get them to what they were supposed to get. Now let's get back to her being a singles competitor, her getting back in a world title scene, and having another run as a face, and eventually turn to Bianca Belair heel.
Also, people forget like she's been a heel for 4 years.
Right, that's it. That's a long time. It's a long time.
Now I don't know that
a little bit too, but
I don't know that this could happen. I'd hope that it happens. If what you say is true and she costs the match and one day Damage Control turns on her, I want nothing more than to hear Sasha's music hit and her best friend come back to save her. Vince isn't in control anymore. Triple H loves Sasha. Sasha loves Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
Do the damn deal. Bring her back.
Yep. Yeah.
Because then you have fresh storylines for everybody. I think you don't have to bring them as tag team champions, but to fight off Damage Control. Then you have the 4 horsewomen to take on Damage Control, which would be awesome.
Yeah. And you bring that back, cause it was cool to see Becky and Charlotte back together a little bit for this as well. Obviously they had some battles in the past, but yeah, I think that would be dope. And I don't think we haven't gotten Bayley Sasha at WrestleMania, right?
Nope.
So that okay, so that Philadelphia crowd would love that was the case, right? And Sasha has to be the heel, or that's natural. I think she's just better being the heel. We saw that in the match they gave us. Her stomping at the hand, the slamming the hand into the steel. Like it was just everything she needed to do to get those fans to hate her guts. She was able to do very easily from the entrance coming out the car, shaking it. It was just like and they was like this bitch. It was perfect. It was perfect.
It's not on the same vein, but their next match at NXT Takeover, when it was the Iron Man match, and she made the kid cry. Like she took the kid's headband off her, ripped up her side, made her actually cry, then made fun of her in the ring. Like
love it.
I don't know how you would do this, but I just sold myself the idea. Somehow you're gonna get Bianca as a heel, right? And if you need to have Bianca, Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane versus the 4 horsewomen, I'm down at WrestleMania, because that place will go nuts.
Yeah,
that place.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I feel like they're kind of in they're kind of in a rock and a hard place, and they kind of need something different to happen. Like I said, to get them new fresh storylines in there. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Just side note, I don't know if you can tell, I just miss Sasha.
Yeah,
I just thought everything.
She's a top performer. Like, I mean, she's missed by the universe. I think for sure. Could we ever heard much of her in New Japan outside of when she started into that match with the Forbidden Door? But
well, then she got hurt.
Oh, she got hurt. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I mean, she like some other performers that have left. The grass is not always greener. You were in the WWE for a reason. They presented you in a different way. You need to be here. Period.
Well,
and once again, I get getting away from Vince. I totally am on that, and I feel the same way about Sasha. I feel the same way about Naomi. I even feel the same way about Ronda Rousey. What's crazy that I'm like, hey, was that real? Did she debut the real Ronda? Was that real?
It was a one-off because one of her friends was there. It wasn't on TV.
Oh, gotcha. I was about to fucking say. I'm like, you complained about WWE and you're going to Ring of Honor. Once again, that to me, I mean, this is not 2011. I'm like, whoa, like, what are we doing? So, I'm glad. Okay, that's good to know.
But for Sasha, the grass may have been greener because she was getting the star treatment with New Japan, and then she had a pretty bad injury, I think, in May that forced. I mean, she hasn't wrestled since. Like she's been out for 8 months. They showed her at All In, right, in the UK with AEW. I don't want her anywhere else besides WWE.
Yeah,
because I like the whole whatever Monet thing, but Sasha Banks, the legit boss, that's one of the, I think that's one of the best and most important characters that they've created in the last 15 years.
Yeah, my little cousin Zaria adores Sasha Banks. Like, I mean, to the point that she was now in 3rd grade, I think, but she was in kindergarten. Sorry, Steven, I'm telling the story. But they would do like a little show and tell thing, and they're like, oh, we're gonna show and tell like our favorite song. With the Sasha Banks glasses. And it was like, like, and just obviously that song got some further in it. So it was like, okay, we're not gonna play this anymore, but thanks. I was like, oh my god! But I mean, Sasha Banks is actually she's actually featured Zaria on her story because she did like a story. She's like, oh my god, how cute is this? So yeah, I feel like Zaria's probably gonna be a future wrestler because of Sasha Banks. Like that, you will see a promo in about 20 years. Like, I wanted to be you, and now I get to whip your ass in the ring. Like, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So we're rooting for you, Zaria. You got this, girl.
That's right. That's right. All right. So top 5, your personal list of the most of the best underrated matches in Survivor Series history.
All right, cool. So let me go to it now. So this is not necessarily in order, but I'm just what I wrote. So this is 2011, the Awesome Truth versus Rock and Cena. That was, people forget how hard of a tag team Miz and R-Truth were at that time as the heel. You know, like that. It was the crowd. It was super over, right?
Yep.
Crowd was loving him, and obviously, you know, we were getting the beginning of the feud between Rock and Cena. You know, Rock made his return to the ring in 15 years. Where it all began at Madison Square Garden, back in '96, obviously. So that was cool. It was cool to see him and Cena team up, and obviously what that led to at WrestleMania 28 and 29. So that was one of my favorite matches there.
But I think what's lost about that match is, you know, it didn't make sense from a storyline purpose because Cena and Rock Rock cost Cena the match against the Miz at WrestleMania.
Miz, right? Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But people, I think they thought because of how long The Rock had been out of it that there would be some ring rust, and he was so good.
Good.
Yeah. He was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think before the match even started, in one of his backstage, wasn't he singing New York, New York with the crowd? Like, only The Rock can do that shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, he came out, he looked great. And once again, I argue like his 2011 and 2014 were was as good as his first one, really. I love the match he had at Royal Rumble. I guess he had Punk a year later. Like it was great. So yeah, so that was one. Two is Team Angle versus Team Lesnar, where we kind of seen the rise of Cena at that moment. When he kind of they gave that foreshadow to him against Big Show, because when he picked him up and put him on his shoulder to give at that time, because it was called the FU, it wasn't the AA. It was called the FU, and you can't see me, just because of who was made out of that. Like that to me is in my top 5, because it was
that was
good.
that was 03 in Dallas, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Even though it's funny, like that's an underrated match, but that wasn't the best 5 for 5 that night.
I
know. Yeah. So, but what a performance that was. But and then next, ironically, it's funny how some of this is happening now. The Shield and the Real Americans, versus the Usos, Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, and Goldust. For those that remember, 2013, Cody Rhodes and the Goldust, they went back and forth with the Shield. They got fired. Dusty Rhodes, really last time Dusty Rhodes was on television full time, and their match the month before at Backlash, Battleground was unbelievable. Cody Rhodes hits probably his best crossroads ever. That crowd. We talk about a crowd being on fire if he wins now, but that crowd was on fire to see them win. So it was cool to see that match. So it's funny how 10 years later they're coming back to that in a way, which some people may forget that, but it's like as fans that watch it, we remember. Then I'm taking it back to 02, Big Show versus Brock Lesnar, when Heyman turns on Lesnar there, and he's like, oh, like you didn't see that coming. So that was cool. That's when they actually used the Big Show as a performer. He became a character of himself kind of years later, but at that time, he was someone that was in the main event picture quite a lot. And then the last but not least, I think this is 04, but or 05, I can't remember, but Christian versus Shelton Benjamin. I just felt like, Christian, great performer, Shelton Benjamin, a great performer. This is right after he had beat Jericho on that Taboo Tuesday pay-per-view for the IC title, which he talks about with Chris Van Vliet, that he didn't know that he was winning, and so Jericho didn't kick out. Jericho was like, yep, yeah, you're the champion. All right. It's like, okay, cool. So for him to be in that ring and have put on a match like that with Christian, I wish that Shelton Benjamin, we remember him for some more matches, but I feel like, Christian had a good year overall. Remember, I was talking to you off air about that match between him and Jericho at 20, and then obviously, this match happened later on that year. But yeah, those are 5 matches I think about. Of course, there's more, but those are some that come to mind that happened at that pay-per-view.
Love that list. Great list.
Yeah.
All right. So again, no particular order. One, I'm going to start off with the one that occurred at the same year. it was Team Austin versus Team Bischoff, Survivor Series 2003.
Yeah. Yep.
And that really cemented, I think, that was a big kickoff and cementation of evolution. I thought Austin assembling that team and then picking Shawn last, right? Shawn was the guy that Austin up until 2002 that Austin had retired. That would be it. And when I think towards the end of the match, Shawn was the sole survivor for his team, and it was 3-on-1. And then he works his way all the way through, telling the story the only way that Shawn can. All hell breaks loose. Austin's chasing Bischoff down the entrance. Batista comes out of nowhere and power bombs the ever-loving shit out of Shawn, leaving him with a pool of his own blood. And then Randy Orton picks up, covers him for the win. That would send Austin, away for like a month.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. But to add to that match, right? Like the reason why that was so great storytelling, and it was that match was like I said, that was the best of the night there. But what was crazy about that match too was like, and you just alluded to it, everyone that's a wrestling fan from that time remembers the call, the Austin era has begun from Jim Ross. So it was very fitting at that time that the Austin era began against Shawn Michaels and it ended because of Shawn Michaels. So that was a great call back there. That once again, people with a casual eye wouldn't think about that or remember. But obviously for like us that are super tapped in to WWE, like we knew what that was there. So that was awesome. So yeah, that's always one of my favorites there.
I know that you know this. I'm sure that our listeners know this too. Is that I'm a big Shawn Michaels fan, so don't be surprised if he reappears on this list. Next one is going to be 2007, Randy Orton versus Shawn Michaels for the WWE Championship, with the moniker that Shawn couldn't do Sweet Chin Music. So this is obviously a few months after the horrific events with Chris Benoit and his family. This is the first time that the crossface was used on WWE television since then. And Shawn, of course, it was Shawn to do it, and the whole place goes nuts. Again, the storytelling of Shawn lost because at the last second he went to go hit Sweet Chin Music. He realized he couldn't do it, and then he gets RKO'd, and it's 1, 2, 3. That was a run in which Randy Orton and Shawn had some of their best matches. Like I think, listen, I'm pretty biased. I think Shawn's the greatest of all time. But when you look at his 2007 run with Orton, 2008 run with Jericho, and then obviously 09.
Cena too. Don't forget him and Cena.
That was 06.
No, that's the same year, 07.
Oh, early in the year, yeah. You're right.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was everybody he did a program with was it delivered. Him and Flair delivered. Him and Orton delivered. It did not matter who he was across from. What was that No Mercy match? Was that him and Jericho at No Mercy? Yeah, crazy. Yep.
That was all. Like if they had just stalled out one more time, we would have gotten to see that live in Boston for Survivor Series in 2008. But instead, he was part of some ridiculous, Survivor Series tag match that nobody remembers. Next one. Psycho Sid versus Shawn Michaels, Madison Square Garden, 1996.
Wow.
This wasn't one of Shawn's best matches, but it was Psycho Sid's best match. And this in WWE. This is this is after 8 months of Shawn being the champion in 1996. The only reason I picked this match is because I think that everyone does remember Austin versus Brett at Survivor Series 96. Like that stole the show. But what I loved most about the Shawn match was how the fans turned on him, and you saw a little bit of heel Shawn peeking out in this match. And I don't think people expected Sid to hit the powerbomb and count the 1, 2, 3, and for that place to pop. I thought it was awesome. I thought they did a really good job telling that story.
Yeah, and I mean, but then it led to a really good match with him and Taker at 13. I forgot how over it was at that time. Yeah, that's true. That's what I forgot about. Because if I think 96, I think about just the Rock, and I think of Austin Bray. I forgot about the second Shawn Michaels match that year. I forgot about that one.
2001, we have the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys. I think this is for the unification. For
Yep.
the DC, like that was it the WCW tag belts? Yeah, WWE
Might have been,
tag belts. I thought that the Invasion gave us a lot of headaches when you look back at it now. I think they did the best with what they had because Vince wasn't going to pay everybody to come in for WCW. But what I loved most about this match is that the Dudleys, I don't know if you remember, but the Dudleys won this because Jeff refused to climb out of the cage with Matt. Once he got to the top, he tried to do a swanton bomb and he missed.
Yep.
I thought it was just those 4 or those 6 really with Edge and Christian too. There is nothing they couldn't do.
Right.
In a ring.
Correct. Yeah. Right. It's funny hearing them tell the story behind the scenes about how like Devo was scared to climb a ladder, and that the one from earlier that year where at TLC 2 when Edge spears Jeff Hardy, it was like Rhino came up with the idea of using the ladder to kind of swing the pendulum where Edge could catch him and then bring him down. And I'm like, that it was like Rhino came up with the idea, like that's crazy. So so that was interesting. But yeah, I was hoping you brought up that one, because that would have been honorable mention for me. But yeah, they didn't miss from like 99 to 02, 03. Like they didn't miss when it came to tag team matches between those 6 guys. So I'm glad you gave them their flowers there for that one.
And then this is my last one that should, I think it's remembered, but it's not for the match. It's for an appearance during the match. Team Authority versus Team Cena, Survivor Series 2014.
With Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, with that, and like that was one of the 550,000 times that they should have put a rocket, on Dolph Ziggler and made him the guy, because everyone in the crowd was on Ziggler's side. I mean, Cena gets eliminated early. You have perfect heel Triple H, perfect heel Stephanie, all that shit, and then Triple H interferes in the match, puts out Ziggler, the lights go out, and you see Sting for the first time.
Yep.
And that was, regardless of what happened for the remainder of his run, that moment will live on forever.
Yeah.
And it was.
I'm sure Seth Rollins is sick about that, because we could have seen more of him in there, and we could have seen other guys that he went against with that buckle bomb there. But yeah, that was great. Once again, Ziggler was on the hell of a run at that time. Once again, I mean, he probably to this day, outside of Seth Rollins, had the best cash in in recent memory, So they won it for him, but of course, Vince being Vince, can't give everything. We got to pick and choose when to give it to the fans. So
I'll give you a couple of honorable mentions too.
Okay.
One includes my guy. It's the infamous Survivor Series match, but it's just not that year. It's Brett versus Shawn for the WWF title in
1992. Yeah.
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 Like, I mean, that is.
I was going to say, it's got to be able to hear this before.
That was a match.
The underrated about 97.
No, I mean, some would say that was. I mean, that's gone on, created its own identity, right? But I mean,
right.
This 92 was a technical classic that it ushered in the new era. You still have guys like Hogan, Savage, all from the 80s, hanging on. But after this main event, if you didn't know like who the 2 workhorses for the WWF at the time were, you did at the end of it. Like it was a great show.
Agreed.
Are you ready for one more honorable mention?
Yeah, let's do it.
Triple H versus Ric Flair, Survivor Series 2005.
Oh, 05, yeah. It was cool. It was cool to see that happen. Obviously, they ran WWE from 02 to 05, 06, I should say. But that, some people call it a reign of terror. But it's like, but I just felt like he said he was going to make Batista and Randy Orton stars, and he did. He said
He didn't really make Randy Orton a star. He tried to bury him.
I mean, well, I mean, obviously we learn more about Randy behind the scenes. Like Randy's stuff to himself too.
Yeah,
But
sure.
I think about after him winning the world title after SummerSlam, and then yo, you're the man, you're the man, you're the man. Ah, and down, and then Randy says the old shake and realizes what's going on, and it's like, wow, I love that. I don't know what that just was. You see that? I don't know what that was. That was cool as fuck. I don't know what that was, but that was awesome. That was good. That was a great credit. Kick that in. That was phenomenal. That was not planned. I don't know what that was great. Oh my god. Oh, for those that's listening on the audio, when this comes out, my screen literally turned to black when I put the thumbs down. So that was not planned. That was not a part of the script. That was great. That was awesome. That's one of my top 5 moments already in history. Shout out to Kayfabe Critics.
I thought I was hallucinating. I couldn't believe I was seeing.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
And then,
Oh my god.
last one. Sorry, I promise this is the last one. Brock versus AJ, 2017.
Yes, champion versus champion, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
because
Yeah. No,
because
champion? Yeah.
because they had AJ beat Jinder Mahal when they were in London or in the UK like a
Mm-hmm.
couple of weeks before, because Brock didn't want to work with Jinder in the Survivor Series, so they put the belt on AJ, and those two had that's what I love about Brock, right? Is that he's so clearly he could literally devour AJ Styles, and there were certain points in that match where like AJ's gonna win.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to both of them.
Right. I mean, look, how I feel about Seth Rollins is how I feel about AJ Styles. Like, I think that they are at the top of this business when they're on.
Yeah.
Listen, 2017 was a great year for AJ Styles. And he started off with a banger against Cena in San Antonio. He ended it with Brock there. So, didn't he have one with Dean Ambrose the year before us too? Didn't he have one? Or that's TLC?
AJ
Styles, yeah. Is that surprise? Or that was TLC? Yeah, in 2016, that was the one that came back. Yeah, because Ellsworth and all those guys were involved, Dean Ambrose, and yeah, that was a good one too. That's a honorable mention for me too. That was a good one. That's a good year. 2016, 2017 was a really good year for WWE in my opinion. Like they restored some equities to me with me there. So that's another way I think about too.
So now that barring any major news, this is probably the last time that we do this until the Royal Rumble. What are you looking for in terms of the road to the Royal Rumble, which will then lead us to the road to WrestleMania? Is there anything that can happen between now and the Royal Rumble that will give you a jolt? Because I know you're going to Mania. Obviously, you go almost.
Well, I still need to get my tickets, but yeah,
yeah, you'll be there.
Yeah, be there. So I'm hoping the Final Four is Gunther, LA Knight, AJ Styles, and trying to think, and like Jey Uso, right? I think that would be a really cool Final Four. With Gunther winning the Royal Rumble, like that's what I want to see. I want to see him thrusting into that main event status. I think him against Seth Rollins would be great for WrestleMania 40. It'd be another Seth versus Goliath story. I would start WrestleMania night 1 with them. Because once again, I tell people all the time, Seth Rollins, to me, is the best in the business right now. And like it's not close. That's just how I feel. And I think when Seth Rollins opens or closes, he doesn't miss. He's not a guy you put in the middle of the match. He's not a guy you put third. Either have Seth Rollins open or you have him close. So when he does that, he never misses ever. So to me, yeah, let that be the build up. Maybe Rollins becomes the face out of that because Gunther's been so great as a heel. And people are going to share Rollins regardless. So it doesn't matter what he says. So he's reaching, and Gunther's reaching that status as well too. But yeah, I think that would be awesome to see. And someone on a mid-card level I want to see get a run, even though they've been giving it to him the last couple of months. I want to see Chad Gable get a title at some point, or at least another opportunity at a title. Maybe him against The Miz would be really cool too. Who knows later on. whether it be at the Royal Rumble or down the line at Fastlane or whatever. Not Fastlane. Whatever affiliate they're gonna do before, because they switch it up. They should bring back No Way Out. They should. No Way Out should be a thing they bring back. I No Way Out to me was always a fun review. Like one of our best moments ever happened was at No Way Out with Eddie Guerrero being Brock Lesnar for the world title like that. I'll never forget that call. I can't believe that's 20 years in a couple months. I can't believe that. That's unreal. I remember watching it on my couch, like, and tonight Eddie Guerrero's on a new high. Like that was my quote. That's called. Like he got like every now and then, like you genuinely want something to happen for somebody, and because he knew the story, it was like that was a perfect storm of that was like the Stone Cold that was up there for that for me. Anyways, but yeah, those are two things that I would want to see happen. So what about you?
I want to see The Miz take that step one more time. I think I think we take him for granted. I know I did when he first started. I did.
Yeah, sure.
I love that he was a fan just like me, but I just thought the only reason he got there was because of the real world. But if that was the case, ever since he's been there, ever since it was at the Miz and Morrison, ever since then he's been on this ascension, and he's a guy that never gets hurt. He's been available for them every day for the last 20 years. I think. I don't know if you give him another title run, but I think put him in the title picture. I want him to win Saturday so that he can get the IC title. And I think we all know that it's going to be Cody and Roman at some point. At Mania, I think that's what's going to happen. But I want them to make sure that they create one more main event star before then. So whether it's Drew, whether it is Gunther.
Yeah, or LA Knight. Let's come back to that at some point.
Yeah, the thing about LA Knight is you're just going to open up a can of worms. I think he's witty. I think he's fun, right? But I don't. Like The Rock was so great when he was a face back in the day because we hated him so much earlier on. Austin, he had a story. What's LA Knight's story?
Well, the story's there too. It took me 20 years to get to this moment. I was at other companies.
No. We know it, but how has he presented it in WWE so far? He's just on the star.
I mean, he's kind of set it in pieces, but it's just like I guess maybe they went in a different direction with how they wrote it out. But I mean, they can always reverse it. I mean. Like, my thing is they were trying to make him a heel, and it shit didn't work. Like, literally, it went from him being a male model or whatever, and then he comes up with and they're screaming LA. Like, I mean, that's out of his control. They was out screaming LA Knight. It was just like, okay. Like, I'm like, it was like 3 weeks before WrestleMania, and his music dropped, and that crowd went fucking ballistic. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, clearly, they're telling y'all he's a guy that we're behind right now. And also maybe it'll stop by by May. Nope. No. Whose game is that? With everybody saying LA Knight. Yeah, like that. I mean, listen, I was at an AEW event in July because they came in. It was Blood and Guts. I think AEW Blood and Guts, and they were shooting Collision 2, and I was up in the balcony. That crowd, once again, AEW crowd was yelling, LA Knight. Yeah. Like, people calling people dummies like that. So this man is over. Like, he's over. And once again, I don't know how they're going to present it, how they should present it, but I'm telling you, this man is, they put a rocket to him. I think he's going to deliver. And I don't know. They got to figure it out how to tell the story. I don't know.
Just like my thing about him is let him tell the story. Because once,
let him.
He's got everything else. He's got everything else. Everyone loves chanting his name, but that only lasts so. I mean, that only lasts so long. Look what happened with Cesaro. Everyone was doing the swing and the King of Swing and all that, and he couldn't connect on the microphone. He just couldn't.
Well, that's not LA Knight weakness. He can tell you. So that's the biggest difference. Like I would argue Cesaro was probably better in the ring than LA Knight, and that's fine. But like I love the BFT finisher. Love that. I love it. I think that's a great move. So yeah, I mean, once again, if you had Cesaro would be world champion if Cesaro had talking skills that LA Knight had. Because he had Cesaro and everything else. World champion. Claudio Castagnoli, whatever his name is now, and over in AEW. So yeah, he'd be world champion now. So yeah, but yeah, don't make it Cesaro 2.0. Let him give out there. Maybe he fucks around and loses a Royal Rumble. Who knows? I don't know. Because Triple H said it, he kind of alluded to it. He said, "Oh, good fans come to those who, to wait." Because I was there for SummerSlam, right? When he won the Slim Jim Battle Royal, 58,000 went ballistic. Like, obviously, fans are coming out, and this came out, whatever. When you heard the L.A. that general there, and from the moment he, and coming into the ring, like, it was like, it was, I'm telling you. So the crowd would go ballistic if he wins at Royal Rumble or he wins at WrestleMania. The crowd is still very much behind him. So, once again, give the fans what they want, Triple H. Give the fans what they want.
I agree. So, for my guy, Rayshawn Buchanan, this is Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much for listening to Kayfabe Critics. Enjoy Survivor Series, and we'll be talking to you on the road to WrestleMania.
Hey, it's Tim from 50 Years of Music with 50-Year-Old White Guys, the comedy podcast you had no idea you needed. Join Ben, Jeff, and me as we continue our musical road trip back through the years and around the globe. See, just when you thought all white guys were like Joe Rogan, you come across 3 educators trying to remember when we were cool.
50 Years of Music with 50-Year-Old White Guys.
Electricast.
Step inside the marketing mirror to uncover marketing secrets, discover gems, tactics, lessons, and campaigns you can use, next gen or fundamentals. Grab the marketing magic to improve your marketing and win more business.
Electricast.